FEDSAS plays an important role in the governance and management of all schools in South Africa, in the sense that there are so many legal aspects and governance matters in education of which most principals and educators still have limited experience. It is important for a school to be a member of FEDSAS, as not only are we the leaders in school governance and management, but we also train, inform, guide and advise all our members in best practice and experienced solutions. Who is FEDSAS? FEDSAS is the national representative organization for school governing bodies. FEDSAS informs, organizes, mobilizes, and develops its members to achieve and maintain the highest international standards in school governance and management. We advise within the public and private educational sectors, focusing on the foundation, intermediate and senior phases. The school's governing body, or SGB, operates primarily outside the classroom. It is the SGB's task to make sure everything outside the classroom is in shape, that infrastructure, discipline, budgets, human resources and finances are efficiently managed. FEDSAS can assist you with all the aspects of your school governing board's primary role, which is creating a conducive environment in the best interest of the school. Furthermore, FEDSAS can assist in strategic planning, sound financial management and human resources aspects such as appointment, discipline and termination of contract processes. When dealing with appointments of principals, FEDSAS wants to support you to appoint the best possible leadership candidates for your school for the sake of our children. Be a part of FEDSAS and know that you are part of a larger community that will always provide you with the latest information which is accurate and reliable. There is always someone within FEDSAS who has the experience of past challenges and solutions. Simply a call away. We at FEDSAS will walk alongside you to take your governing body forward to achieve greater heights. FEDSAS has extensive experience in education matters. As an active, dynamic organization, it is fully informed of developments and restructuring in the education field and can advise its members accordingly. FEDSAS is a democratic, non-political organization, and members elect their leaders along the lines of the national school governing body elections. What does FEDSAS stand for? FEDSAS believes in maximum autonomy for governing bodies and therefore strives to expand governing bodies' rights, competencies and skills. FEDSAS supports and promotes governing bodies' powers and the rights as defined in the legal framework of the Constitution, South African Schools Act, and acceptable governance principles. Former State President Nelson Mandela said, "Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Education is a great engine for personal development. Through education, the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor. Children of mine workers become heads of mines. The child of farm workers can become president of the country." Here at FEDSAS, we do what we do because we love our children, we love our schools, and we love our country. We look forward to being of service to every school governing body in South Africa.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the session. We're glad to see a few people still coming in. And yeah, we're keen on having a great chat this afternoon. I see that my background is not there. So I'm going to fix that quickly because we look so uniform today that I must sort that out. There we go. Yeah, we're talking sim4schools and an innovative new idea that's on the table for fundraising for schools. We had the Afrikaans session yesterday, so there were a few people in the Afrikaans session that said, "When are we doing this in English?" And I'm like, well, we've got an Afrikaans one and an English one, so today we're serving our members in English. And I'm very glad to have a few of my colleagues with us today. So I'm going to introduce a panel. and we'll be discussing a few concepts around this. Ladies first, I've got Bernadette de Klerk. She is in Zeerust, but she serves 3 other provinces as a provincial assistant. An admin support for our provinces, and she's on the ground. She knows what goes on in school. She comes from a school background, and she's going to share a little bit about her excitement about the project. Then we've got Pierre de Villiers. He's in the Eastern Cape, a beautiful place called Jeffreys Bay, and he's going to share a little bit of the insights on what he's seen on grassroots level with the school economy, how schools have been challenged over the past few years, and especially in East Province. And then Mpate George Morusi's joined FEDSAS recently. He looks after our quintile 1 to 3 schools, as well as other areas in FEDSAS, and he's our National Development Officer. And yeah, good afternoon to our panel. We'll get to them shortly. When I thought about this session, I said, man, if I look at what's going on in the news, apart from the rugby, which was great Friday night, if you look at things that's going on around us, if it's not the economy that's pressing us, the third term is always very busy in schools. Life is tough, and school life is even tougher. It's a fast pace. I think the calendar says it's August. Our to-do list says or thinks it's May, but our energy tank says it's November. And somehow we've got to balance all these things. We've still got a year's work to do in the last 3 months. And this afternoon, I want to kind of just step back and say, let's take all the being tough, the sadness, the harshness, the difficulty out of school life, and let's talk about something that possibly inspires and possibly gives hope and gives us opportunities. I think that's the one thing that I see with this fundraising that we're going to put forward to you today. I want to share a few slides with you just as an opener. The panel is going to stay active there, and we're going to start talking. We also have questions for you as the audience, so you're going to get your fingers ready for filling out a poll. But let me get started with my slides and just share a little bit of the background here. What are we talking about? We were a little bit hazy about sim4schools. It's an exclusive opportunity to FEDSAS. Most of you will know my face as the face of the Center for Finance and Risk Management, and probably more so as the face behind the Center for Technology over the past few years. And these centers give us the opportunity to look a little bit wider and give maybe alternative options, looking for products and services and solutions that makes the school's life better. The solution today speaks to both of these. It's connected to the Center for Finance because it's a fundraising opportunity. And when we started the Center for Finance and Risk Management, we said that's one of our goals. We're going to look for fundraising opportunities because schools do it and they want to get more bang for buck, more profit, more dividend out of their effort. And then from the technology side, over the past few years, we've really seen a focus on the shift. It wasn't just COVID that put us into the digital world or the fourth industrial revolution, but that accelerated it so much so that we knew that learners needed data to be online, even more so for school. The societal pressures that we work with, petrol is up by 50 or 100% from 3 years back, but data has come down in price. So we're definitely speaking to the world of connectedness. And that brings us to sim4schools, which is the project that we're launching. It's a partnership between us and Meg's app, which is the virtual mobile network operator, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. So we have a very simplistic solution here. It's a fundraiser, so it fixes money in schools. It's a solution to a problem, expensive data that expires. Everyone is connected and everyone has a phone, but we need to empower our communities with data. The quick summary of this whole session today is probably on this slide. And we can stop after this if it makes enough sense to you. Number one, the school sells SIM cards. It's a new network. It runs on the M10 backbone, but it's a virtual mobile network operator. The school earns income from the selling of the SIM card, but also the perpetual passive income on the users of the data and the SIM card spending their top up. And a lot of people are on top up. I was amazed when I saw the statistics. So that's the gist of it. The school contracts with MegsApp. You start selling SIM cards. You convince your community to either port their number or use a new number and then buy the data, which they do monthly in any case. This is a ongoing spend for most people in South Africa. And then the school earns a portion of it. So it's got sim4schools. Maybe why is it in a governing body space? And I wanted to reflect. I put my Schools Act down somewhere behind me now. But Section 36, subsection 1 says the school governing body must do anything reasonable within its power to supplement the funding from the state. So there's a definite obligation for schools to do fundraising. I think most schools do it. But the obligation is not just, a stick to be hit with. It's in many cases an obligation that we want to do. We do fun days. We do stuff that's good for the kids. We involve the community, and that puts the school in the center of the community. So yes, there's an obligation and a must. So if you don't do fundraising, you're actually contravening the Schools Act. But I think most schools realize that the state funding is not enough to sustain quality education. I visit a lot of schools. I travel the country, and I see schools doing it. Every context has the same issues. It's just different numbers or different spaces. But schools do it, number one, probably because it's for survival. Then I see schools doing it for fun days. It's Civies Day, it's Kaskardag movie night, whatever, braai or something. There's fundraising that gets into a fun component and a development and growth of the learners component. But most schools do it because we've got to pay the bills. We've got to make the income statement balance at the end of the year. And I know that fundraising is not easy. We've got a lot less people on this webinar than I thought we would have, because I think fundraiser it's a burden for the schools. And I hope this one is innovative and easy enough that schools can breathe through this. And it's a perpetual fundraiser. It doesn't want to click forward here. Why do we look at airtime and data? South Africa is a screen country. A report recently published, it was in the newspaper on the 20th of July, said South Africans spend more time on their screens than any other nation in the world. I thought that this was amazing. Excuse me. South Africa is top of the list. We're not just the world champions in rugby. We're good at a few things, but number one in the percentage of our awake time do we spend on our screens. South Africa first with 58.21, Brazil, Philippines, Argentina. If we zoom in a little bit, you can see the numbers there. More than half of our awake time, the average South African, now average is something difficult to, to comprehend and explain. It's not everyone's, but this is how active we're on our screens, and this is how active we are on our devices. 9 hours, 38 minutes on screens, of which 5 hours, 13 minutes on our phones. Now, there's an interesting thing here that boggles my mind. On the one hand, we hear constantly that there is not access to data and to devices to do something like e-learning or use more technology in schools. On the other hand, we've got this problem that we're best in the world with the hours on our screens. So yes, there's a little bit of a paradox in the narrative that probably needs some investigation. But our nation, our school nation, our school community is part of this. And we spend a lot of time consuming data and consuming airtime. I want to flip the screen a little bit and ask Elreta to put up the polls for us. I want you guys to just quickly, in your mind, play with us, but there's going to be a poll on the screen. And tell us, how long have you had your cell phone? More than 20 years. Wow. 10 to 20 years. Oh my goodness. And I'm assuming that some of the people are younger, that they couldn't get one before that. We did the same exercise at our staff meeting the other day, and many of us have had our phones since the day that cell phones started in South Africa. So we got 90% of people more than 10 years. Cell phones are not new. It's not something we really have to train people about. It's not something that is foreign. It's day-to-day life. Thank you, Alberto. We can stop that poll. So we can see 96% of us are in excess of 10 years on, and 40% more than 20 years. So this is day-to-day life, but have we considered doing it differently? How many Sims in your household? This is your family or your household, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 plus. Now we can see that it's not necessarily just the number of people, but there might be more than one device for one person. It's the tablet, it's the phone, it's something else at home that also has a SIM card and uses data. So there we go, 52%, 3 and 4, and a smaller portion, 5 plus. The next one is what tipped my mind completely. If we stop that one and go to the next one, what is the percentage of prepaid users in the country? Now, I've had a contract most of my life, and I found out very quickly that I was not the average. I was not 75% and more, 60 to 75%, waiting for some other numbers to come in. Less than 50, yeah, that was where I was. 50 to 60. Very interesting that the audience yesterday got this more right, if there is such a word, than us. It is, maybe I should just give it another minute. No, I think we can stop it. Yeah, it's slowing down. It's in excess of 80% of the country's cell phone users are on prepaid. And that's important because this project is far more geared for the prepaid audience. So I see that it's fairly evenly split there in your answers, but the actual truth is far more than that. And the next let's get closer to home in a school's context. What would you define as a profitable project? We always say we don't want to start the harvester for 1 milli. We want to start it for when we do some trouble and effort, we want to get some better dividend out of it. So what would you get up for in the morning if a project yields what amount? There we go. 23%, that's 25 to 50,000 Rand. That's substantial money in many budgets. 50 to 80,000 Rand is where our focus is at this point in time. 36% of people going there. Yeah. So we've got 56% of people between 50,000 and 120,000 Rand. Now, just make a note of that in your mind. And even some going between 25 and 50,000. And yes, I would agree that 200,000 and 300,000 project would be really profitable. And the interesting thing about this project, it has potential. It has potential. Next question. Have you ever been the victim of data that expired or airtime that expired? Yes, yes, yes. And a lot of them. Yeah. Fast fingers there. Great stuff. So we all know that you buy something, you think it's yours, the time runs out and you haven't used it. So put that on a notepad for you as well. And number last, what do you think the average monthly spend on a cell phone account is? For prepaid or for any, what would you think people spend on their cell phone monthly? Sure. The bulk of the numbers above 300 and even above 500. So more than 300 is 76%. More than 500 is 44%. Keep that number in mind as well. I want to thank you for your participation. That's great knowledge. You've now just effectively put down a few markers that we're going to be working with as far as that goes. Let me just... What is sim4schools? It's a project where FEDSAS and Meg's app bringing an exclusive to FEDSAS opportunity to schools on a virtual mobile network operator. It's on the MTN infrastructure and backbone. Their data and airtime is definitely the cheapest, and we just recently compared again. And there's one of the cruxes: it never expires if you buy a bundle that is a non-expiring bundle. They have a few bundles that do expire because people sometimes want that, but on general bundles, their data and airtime never expires. The school receives a rebate, very similar to the My School concept. So the school gets a monthly rebate on the spend of the parents. And some retailers do that successfully, and a lot of schools have that card that you swipe. This is just get the school community to change their SIM card to a new SIM card, keep their number or change their number if they wish to, and start buying data, which they already do, for cheaper. So if they get it for cheaper, the community becomes more empowered, has more disposable income, or they have more freedom to be on the network. So parents, learners, and staff win. And then the school wins. You sell the card once, and it's passive, perpetual income that comes your way. So yes, what is the potential? I looked at a few numbers, and if a school wants to do 100,000, remember our average there was between 50 and 120. So if a school wants to make 100,000 on monthly top up of 240, and you just convinced me that it's closer to 500, the rebate is 5%. An annual number of 100,000 can be achieved by 694 cards. Now double the monthly top up and that number halves. That's just easy math. If you want to see, if you just do 200 SIM cards, you get 28,000, which some people said that's already a profitable dividend from a project. 400 cards gives you 57,000, and 600 cards gives you 86,400, and that's at a very low monthly top up. If we just do the a quick lever of increasing the monthly top up to 300, there we go, 36,000, 90,000, 143,000. So you can see the levers of the potential here. I want to quickly jump to our panel and ask them to open their mics, and I'm going to stop sharing screen here that you can see all our screens. I'm going to jump right into it. Bernadette, you're out in Zeerust. You previously worked in a school's admin office, finance office. You now serve 3 provinces with administrative support. Something about this project excited you the first time we spoke about it. You put your hand up so high and said, I get it. What about this project is so cool for you?
Thank you, Rian, and good evening, everybody. So coming from a financial perspective in a small town school, you always have to think out of the box. Something new, something that all the schools in the town are not using. So obviously you want to make more bang for your buck. With this project, there's no out of the box thinking. You simply have to dip your toe. It's like fishing in a river. The river's already there. The fish are already there. You just have to put your line in. So with consumers already buying their airtime at Pep and Checkers and Clicks and Pick and Pay, you simply change your SIM card, get onto the Meg's app network, and instead of buying MTN or Meg's app or Cell-C or Vodacom, you simply ask for OTT, one voucher or blue voucher, and convert your airtime into data. So it's not a hard sell. It's an easy thing. It's already there. You simply just have to tap into this river. The other thing is that the school size doesn't matter. If you have 4,000 kids in your school, if you have 400 kids in your school, if you have 40 kids in your school, it doesn't matter. The community can stand together, and you can also generate income based on the sales that you drive. This is a truck that you drive in the front seat and not a carry-on that you have to pull through. So it kind of levels the playing field. You don't need outside donations or sponsorships for a golf day or outside people sponsoring a meal or anything for a function. You simply sell the cards. This year, you might need 100K, sell those 650 cards. Next year, you sell 300. You don't only have the 300, you have the 600 that you sold this year, plus the revenue coming in from the additional 300. So even in a tough financial year with less sales, you can still make a lot of money. And it's a win-win. the consumer saves by saving money on the airtime, and the school wins by getting the revenue. It's an ongoing thing, and it's simple success. It's simply the teamwork will make the dream work.
Happiness. You mentioned something, it levels the playing field, and I always get this question, is this only for the big schools, or we are too big for this, we are actually successful enough, we don't need a fundraiser or something. But talk to me about leveling the playing field, thinking of the context of maybe smaller schools not in suburban city areas. How do you see that playing, the leveling of the playing field?
Well, it's exactly what you said. I'm thinking you're in a Centurion area where there is a lot of concentration of population, a lot of city-wide opportunities for schools. Let's go with the golf day. So your golf day gets a sponsorship of a tee or a golf pitch, for let's say $5,000 from businesses in the area, where a small community, even a rural community that doesn't have access to a golf range, doesn't have that option for the fundraiser. So this is something that equals the playing field, when everybody gets to cut in on the same level of fundraising, and it's simply a matter of driving this force, and everybody can work as hard. It doesn't put any extra pressure on the school team to put in extra hours and work in an extra setting to produce a bigger income. It's simply something that, and the other thing is, you don't need a lot of money, a capital injection to start a project to generate money, because as we all know, you need money to get money. So this is something that is a simple concept. Everybody can get involved and just drive it. It's absolutely just a teamwork effort.
Well done. Thanks, Bernadette. Pierre, I know that your history includes selling of other products like dry fruit rolls and stuff. Tell us where you're from, a little bit of your background, and the question that I want to ask you is, how have you seen schools become more under pressure, possibly in your province, but possibly even wider than that? Are schools under economic and financial pressure, and how has it changed over the past few years?
Oh, thanks, Rian. Yeah, just a little bit of a background. I was principal for 11 years and then in the department for 14 years. And while I was at the school, it was always a big issue and a big planning issue to think about ways and means to supplement the school funds. You know, golf days, selling raisins or fruit rolls or whatever the case may be. And it's a mammoth task at the end of the day. And especially in the Eastern Cape, you know, the Department of Education over here doesn't fund the schools according to the national norms and standards of school funding. So the schools are really, really struggling. And especially, I know George is going to talk about it as well, but especially the quintile 1 to 3 schools. And like Bernadette says, this is leveling the playing field. Those schools will also have an opportunity to source funds in a very easy way. You know, I listened to a program the other day where they said Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they make more money at nighttime when they sleep. And principals and so on, if they buy into this MEX app, can definitely also make more money while they're sleeping at night without a big effort and so on. And I think it's a brilliant way of sourcing funds and to supplement school funds and so on. Just the other thing that I want to say, that what I realized in the Eastern Cape, how difficult the financial situation is, our affluent schools who got in the past, let's say 90 to 95% of the school fees in, are struggling at this point in time to get 60% of the school fees in. And another thing that I think links into this MEX app is, you know, when COVID happened, everything stopped. Sporting activities stopped, cultural activities stopped. But the one thing that did continue was teaching. And our teachers got so innovative in the way that they taught. But it was on WhatsApp, it was on email, it was via videos and SMSs, and all these things need airtime. And I think this is a brilliant way. One of our people within FEDSAS, I can say, Dr. Jaco Deacon told us that at another company, they bought, let's say, 500 meg of data, but for the same amount of money, they can currently get 2 gigs of data. And to move between data and airtime is so easy with this process. So really, you know, I think it's a no-brainer not to buy into this.
Thanks, Pierre. Yeah, we know it's going really tough in the Eastern Cape. The department not fulfilling its obligation with norms and standards. The economy was under pressure, but that goes for many provinces. It's not just the Eastern Cape. George, you walk in different corridors maybe than some of us on screen. You're focusing on quintile 1 to 3 schools. You also heard of this project and became very excited. How do you think this can play to schools in all contexts, and especially the lower quintile schools? What do you think the difference can be here?
Good afternoon, Dr. Moruti, and to our viewers and guests. Let me start with the sad reality. I, as you correctly pointed out, walked in many corridors, many schools, and when you walk into a school, most of the time, you'll find it's a fact. Our schools, especially my schools, quintiles 1 to 3, don't have money. They are trying to get the grass cut. They don't have a budget for that. So it's quite sad. They try all means possible to raise funds, trying the CV's day, having to lock children out, to extort 2 rand out of them, or sending them home. It's just trying anything, or having to lock parents into contracts that we call donations. If you don't pay a donation, your child is not going to get their report. Trying anything under the sun to the extent of breaking the law in the process. But we understand the frustration why. There is just no money. That's why I call it a sad reality, and it is an everyday event because schools must survive. There are needs, but there is no money. And when this concept was introduced to me, it excited me to the extent that I realized doorstep. It's just there. It has been there. We just didn't have this opportunity, but now the opportunity is here to say whether you are, as you said correctly, Rian, whether you are sleeping or awake, the money keeps coming in. Our children breathe data. They eat data. If you say to them, let's go visit a cousin elsewhere, they ask, do they have Wi-Fi? No, they don't have Wi-Fi. Okay, are you going to hotspot me? So there must be data. Or are you going to buy me data? So in this instance, as and when you buy data, that's data for the school. I mean, that's a percentage for the school. Then why not try this route? I've already said schools are trying anything possible. Here is another possibility, which I would say, as I said, this is money at your doorstep. It's a tap, it was closed, we just didn't see this tap. It's an opportunity to open it. Just at least try build and top up those coffers that are empty. So this is really exciting for me. I don't know if I'll be sad anymore. I'll be sad if we don't take this opportunity. Schools don't take up this opportunity because, as I said, our children eat and breathe data. They are forever on their phones, forever spending and realizing this is the cheapest data ever or airtime. The sad part for me now will be if we don't ride this wave. So my plea for schools is let's take this opportunity. It is there for the taking is effortless.
Yeah, I hear two things. Number one, people don't have to spend more money. They don't have to buy something that they didn't want to buy. They're already buying data. Just buy from a different source, which is cheaper, and the school gains something out of it. The second thing that I just want to honor and say that I hear is, for some schools, the fundraising is for something that might be perceived as a slight luxury. And for some schools out there that you've encountered, that we've encountered in all our provinces, all our managers encounter these schools that even struggle to pay their FEDSAS fees, that struggle to cut the grass, that struggle to pay the necessities. I'm not even talking about solar and all these kind of things, just the necessities. And yes, this is possibly an opportunity because the community is already spending money there. Maybe just to add a little something to that, I think Pierre mentioned it, Bernadette mentioned it, and Tate George said it's money at your doorstep. I see something in this process of, we don't have to sell the airtime monthly. We sell the device that generates the selling of airtime. It's like giving someone a decoder and saying, but go get the decoder for free, but you just pay monthly subscription for DSTV. and that's a slight difference between the raisins and the dry fruit rolls. And in my days, we sold even flavored condensed milk and who knows what else at school. My life at school, we've always sold something. Because the school, but you've got to sell something that's a once-off, and there's a difference here that it's perpetual. The cards that you sell this year give you something next year as well, and then the cards that you sell next year give you something, and that's how it grows. I just want to tell the audience quickly that FEDSAS has done a lot of work in the background. Most of our team has gone through some training, and not to say that it's difficult to understand how we use our cell phones, but you're just a user of the cell phone. You never look under the bonnet of the cell phone network to understand what is it per second billing, per minute billing, how much is a gig of data, and all these things. And we've really gone the extra mile to understand more of Meg's app, cell phone networks, cell phone data, so that we can support our schools with some questions. I just want to allay all fears. We've asked most of the questions that schools have started asking, and we've gotten answers to that. I know you want to ask a question, and I know you want to also know, did we think of this? Did you think of Rika? Did you think of Top Up? Did you? And I want to urge you guys, it's quiet in the Q&A box. So if there's any question, I'm going to maybe hit a few of the frequently asked questions now in a short presentation. But if there's any question from the audience, I'll stop in the middle of my sentence and say, let's address that quickly. So if you've got any questions, just pop them into the Q&A box. I'm going to share my screen again, just run through a few nitty-gritty things, and thanks to my colleagues for sharing their thoughts. We have cards in stock. Sim4School co-branded with Meg's app cards, nice yellow card. And there's the instructions, how to Rika. You just SMS Rika to that, no, not SMS, WhatsApp Rika to that number and get the process started. You're not queuing up for a Rika process. It's really easy. You can keep your number, you can port your number, but we already ready for schools to encounter this. So frequently asked questions. So what is the cost? How much is a SIM card? What do I get with a SIM card? How much is the data? How does Rika work? Where do I buy data? Bernadette answered that very well. Everywhere you buy data, you just don't ask for an MTN or a Vodacom voucher. You ask for one of the generics, the OTT or One Voucher or Blue. And I never knew these things work, but 86% of the country knows how this works. How does the school market it? And this is where we want to assist you and say that we've also done work with preparing some electronic marketing material with Megs to say this is how you can communicate with your school community, put it on your WhatsApp groups, on the D6 communicator, in letters, whatever you want to do, and make sure that you get the message out. And how much admin for the school? How much more? And I think that's the critical question. A lot of schools say, oh, I want to do something. Oh, I've got to do work. Now you don't win like the Springboks the other night without pushing fairly hard in the scrum. So there is a little bit of effort here, but the difference here is perpetual return and not just one-time return. There's the crux. This is a comparison not long ago. The cheapest comparison for 1 gig of data was Telkom at 79 Rand, 85, 85, 85, and then Meg's app, 49 Rand, that never expires. The others do expire. So you might pay 85 Rand and only use half of it because it expired, because you didn't get to it. So already you can see 30-40% discount there, which will go to the community, which will make your community more economically viable. The data costs here, the one that I love, I think best deal is the 279 for 12 gigs of data that never expires. Now you can get 100 gigs of data and whatever, but if it expires, I bought 100 gigs over the holiday because George, my kid, said, but we're on holiday and there's no Wi-Fi. What are we going to do? Netflix and YouTube. And then I bought 100 gigs, ran out, bought another. And after 20 gigs, our holiday was over. And I left, I don't know, 80 gigs. I bought 100. 80 gigs just expired. So there's the data. The process going forward for a school, we've got a link on our FEDSAS website. The homepage, there's a banner rolling where you can register. We'll send you this presentation. You can get more details. You can email at sim4schools@fedsas.org.za and get more details. But here's the process flow of how you do it. Presentation at the school if you wish, registration on the website. You sign up for a distribution agreement with Meg's app, and the school needs to contract with them. FEDSAS has looked at the contract. Our legal team is fairly happy, or very happy with the contract, but we want to put the onus on the school. The school has got to contract wisely, but we've looked at the contract like we do for many other contracts for schools on photocopiers and printers. Then there's a link to order some SIM cards. There's the RECA process that is explained. Once the SIM card is sold, the user gets the RECA process going. And then there's always 24/7 training and customer care. The academy that our staff went through is available to everyone from a school that can do that. I see that there is a question, but I want you guys to quickly scan this. If you can see that picture without my face or anyone else's face in the front. This is an online presentation, and I think this is the Afrikaans one. I might be sharing the wrong one with you. We'll send you the right one. I did change it, but I see it didn't save the right one because I made the English one blue. But I'll share it before the end of the session quickly. Alreto, if you can just get us a bit.ly for the English Gamma app and put it in the chat box if you can. I'll see if I can share the screen there. So that you can get more info and possibly share that info with other people. I want to stop my screen and go to the questions and possibly try and multitask and just put that other QR code in the presentation. I'm going to jump to the Q&A. I saw that there was a question and open up for questions now, even to the rest of my panel members. I think the crux of it is easy to understand. It's not a foreign type of product. I feel very easy selling something that we all know, that we've been using for 20 years, that we spend monthly money on, and that everyone has. The question is, where is the process to start, and where? We are ready to start. If you want to sign up, we've already had schools sign up yesterday. We'll take the process further with Meg's app. I don't know if some of their officials are in the room today, but we've got a team from Meg's app that supports us. And once the school signs up, that relationship will move over to them and say, we want to get started. Then you order some SIM cards and you start communicating to your parent body, your school community. So fairly easy to start, not a lot of money. You can start off with 200 cards. Maybe this is a little proviso. The cards cost 11.50 Rand a piece. And the suggested retail selling price is 20 Rand for a card. So you already make some profit on the cards for the effort of selling it. But that's the small number in the bigger picture, because the top up generates monthly revenue for that. Any more questions? I see that there's another one question. I was going to ask, where do we sign up? But you answered it. So yeah, where do we sign up? sim4schools@fedsas.org.za is an email address you can use, or just pop onto our website, the banner rolling there. on both the Afrikaans and English page. There's a sim4schools banner, and there's a registration banner, as well as an order SIM cards banner. So yeah, maybe not a question, but comments. Do you, as the audience, see some value in this? Maybe just type 2 or 3 words in the Q&A box, and I can read that to you. Do you see value? Do you see a pitfall? I'm going to try and quickly share that other presentation with you, so that we can get you guys to have something on your phone that you can share with your community, and maybe send that on. I just want to see if I can do this in one go. Pierre or Bernadette, is there any comment or question in the chat box so far?
Hello, Rian, again. Excuse me, Pierre. There's a question: what sort of increased admin is there for the school? So the admin personnel will have to manage the orders and sales of SIM cards. There's a small training issue that you have to go through, but it's really, really simple. I went through mine allocating an hour a day, and it took me less than a week to complete. It gives you an increased knowledge of the background of SIM cards and how data works actually, and how you can save, and how you've been spending data that you don't necessarily know about. But there's a small recap process that you can assist people with, and it's not an increased admin as such. It's simply the managing of orders and sales of SIM cards.
Yeah, I think the big thing is it's not going to happen by itself, but it's also not that onerous. You have to sell the card. You've got to buy the cards, and then you've got to sell the cards. So once you've sold the card, the process is fairly in the hands of the purchaser. But if they have questions, if the school does some training and just reading up a few things, you can assist them so that they have a good experience. You don't want people to have a bad experience because they're going to blame the school. Instead of leaving them in the dark, maybe just give them some information and assistance in that. But Megzi, the bot, as well as MexApp, the people, they will be around to support the schools with this process. I just want to quickly see why I can't copy this in here. I want to give you something to scan on your phone and get some more information. Let me just do this. Just give me 1 second here. Insert picture. Is there another comment from anyone in the audience? Maybe if the audience just want to scan this is a presentation, an online presentation. I haven't shared it, am I right? Let me just share my screen and go there. I'll see there's some questions. Bernadette or Pierre or George, just have a look at the questions there. If you scan that quickly, it will open up a presentation. It's also copied into the chat box. Just make sure that you bookmark it or keep it. That will give you a lot of information to share with other people so that you can get this process going. I'm going to jump into the questions quickly. Someone said, it's a good deal. Absolutely. This is amazing. We're definitely going to sign up. Will training also be virtual? Depends on where you are, but some of our FEDSAS staff can assist a little bit, but the training is actually an online academy. So if you are shy of data, you come to the right place to buy data. That's the Megs data is the cheapest, and you do some online training with them. It's a self-paced training, but then the support is 24/7 from the customer care. Yep, people complimenting. We will surely be interested and we'll get the ball rolling. Wonderful. If there's no further questions, Pierre, did I hear your voice?
Yes, Rian, maybe you must just talk about where they can, the 3 different types of vouchers that is available. And
yes, okay. Bernadette mentioned them, so we encountered this, and I was not in the prepaid world before I encountered the space, but my kids are now 12 and 13, and suddenly I needed 2 non-contract phones in my house, and had to start learning. And so each network has their own vouchers, but there's 3 places to buy data on MEGS app. The one is at retailers with those 3 that Bernadette mentioned. Bernadette, it's Blue. What's it? Blue voucher, OTT, and One voucher. So those are the 3. But that's the one avenue where you can get data. The second one is MEGS app has a cell phone app where you manage your data, and they even have games for kids to play and fill out forms and do stuff and win data or gain more data. So do this, fill in this form and get 50 megs of data. So the app gives you more versatility and management about it. Yeah, there's the app. You just download it from your Play Store. Turn your phone slightly here. It was showing, and then it's just went fairly white. Yeah. The third one is the regular old, the pre-smartphone era, the USSD. It's like *136# green button, and then you get to a platform where you can buy data. So they've got the USSD option, the app option, and then the retail option of data. So everywhere where MTN has coverage, the MEGS card will have coverage. Everywhere where you can buy vouchers and data, maybe put it slightly in front of you. Yeah, it just gives us a white screen. Dante George, I know you're trying, but yeah, just go search for the MEGS app on your Play Store or App Store. If there are no further questions, and most of the audience is happy with what they said, and thank you for the comments, we're trying to bring you something that can help the school. MEGS app approached us. We've been in talks since March this year, trying to see how we can bat this out and make it viable for schools. We're sincere in supporting our schools with sustainability. That's what the Center for Finance has been aiming to do. Bringing data at a cheaper rate to learners and teachers will put us in the 4th industrial revolution so much more. Not just the social side of it, but also the educational side of it, which I think we need a lot. So we're very excited about this. We're hoping to hold your hands in this process and make sure that the schools gain. So thank you for your time. I don't know, last words from all of you. George.
Thank you so much. I'm just, as I said, excited, and I know out of this that our schools will be able to make a little bit of money or a lot of money. It's entirely up to the school. We no longer have to now close our children out. The money has always been there for the taking. Now is the time to just have it. I'm excited and hopeful that my schools will take opportunity. Will ride on this wave. Thank you.
I think that's a good place to start. The schools, they're all our schools, George, South African schools. So we're going to try and help them all. Bernadette, last word from you.
I am also extremely excited. I can't wait for the feedback from schools saying that this has been the easiest way to get in money and extra. Sorry, not just for the necessities, but extra as well, and exceed expectations. I can't wait.
Excellent. Pierre, last word from you.
From my side, it's only hurry up and sign up.
Hurry up and sign up. There you've got it from the ex-principal. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Yes, sir, we'll do it, sir. Thank you for sharing this afternoon with us. We appreciate your time. Go tell your neighbors and your friends. I think if we get in early, we're in good shape because primary school kids move to the high school, but they can stay your perpetual income before they go. So thank you for this time. I think there was a quick last question. Now we're going to put my... Oh, it's just a great thank you. It's a big pleasure. Yeah, if you need any support in this, just give us a shout. Thank you so much. A lot of thumbs ups and thank yous there. I appreciate that. Have a great afternoon. Take care of yourselves. And yeah, if there's any questions, just give us a shout. Go well, everybody.
Bye.